Hey, Lee Spangenberg of Secret Doorways here. I'm going to show you real quick how I install a single panel recessed outswing door. I'm going to start out with the header. So this is the header. If you watch the other videos, we go over how to make that. Just real quick, the face of the bookcase is going to be here. So your drywall is going to be here. And I want that to be 4 inches out from the drywall. So this return is actually 3 1/4 inches from this corner. So this return will butt up against the casing that's already there. If the casing's not up already, what I'll do a lot of times is just take a clamp on a block of wood and clamp it here, install the header, and then come back and pull that out and slip my casing in behind that. So I'm going to take my header and I'm going to set it up in here, and the instructions are going to call for leaving about 1/8 of an inch on either side, and trust me, you'll end up using that just about every time. And I'll start out by just installing a couple screws, seeing how it fits, and then leaving myself some room to play if I need to shift it one way or the other. So that's that. So let's talk about the base for a second. There's 3 different ways to do bases. Probably the most common is to do a base like this. There's pros and cons to all of them. The nice thing about this is it's real easy to move around and shift it where you need it. If there's a lot of traffic going through that door, or let's say it's at the top of a set of steps, you don't want a trip point there. It's going to leave everything else under that door open. Drawback is that when you look at the face of the door, you can see this base, and it's hard to put a piece of trim on the bottom because if it swings around 180 degrees, it binds on the base. So those are the pros and cons of that. For another way to do it is just to drill a hole into the floor. Kind of tough to do if it's carpet, but if it's hardwood, you can just make your bookcase 3/4 of an inch taller and just drill a hole right into the hardwood. Takes it down nice and close to the floor. Problem is, if you go to change the door out and put another door in later, you're going to have a hole there in your nice hardwood floor. And plus, it's a lot harder to install because you got to find that plumb point when you're installing it. So the third way is I made up a piece that is basically a threshold. This is the same width as my bookcase, and so it's going to have my pivot point here. And that's what I chose to do for this door. This door is actually, this is my booth for the home garden show, so it's easy to show you how it's going to look. So I'm going to just take the 2-inch pin, drop it into the hardware here, and then I can move this around and just run a couple of screws down into the floor. Instead of using the needle bearings that I include in the kit, I'm just using some 1/2-inch washers because the needle bearings swing so easy that sometimes it's nice to have a little bit of friction so it doesn't just swing all over the place. So this is going to sit on the floor. I'm going to just take this at this point, set it on the floor. Then I'm going to take my case, and I'm going to set the bottom on the pin that's on the base. Again, it's not screwed in or anything, so I can move it where I need to. And then I've got the longer 3-inch pin. There, it's sitting down on there. And I'm going to maneuver this underneath the top here, shift it around. When these 2 corners line up, you should be able to drop this pin right down through the header and into the top of the door. Now I can just shove the bottom into where I need it. way back there. Hang on a second. There we go. It's wedged underneath the stop. Let's try this again. There we go. So now, all I have to do is just move that base around at the bottom once I get it plumb and where I want it. If I have to, if this gap isn't right up at the top, you can shim that header and make that look right. Getting it to this far is pretty easy. You'll spend a lot of time nutsing around and just getting it just the way you want it. Sometimes if you can, if the casing's not on yet, you can bring those jams in to where you need it and fasten everything down and attach your magnetic catch or your book latch or whatever lock you have, and that's it. So that's installing a single panel recessed outswing.